I don't ever want to forget the day that my dad sat down with me. He told me to always give people more than they expect. My dad said, you're not going to notice it in your bottom line of your business, but you are going to notice it in the customers. Because of those successes, we're able to impact the community on a different level, more than I ever imagined. I have to believe I was somewhat energetic and maybe non-focused, and certainly my parents realized this in me, and they thought they would try to channel some of my energies. And I always loved going fishing with Dad, and they proposed to me, why don't you take what you love to do and make a business from it? I started, my first business was my nightcrawler business, and it was called Honest John's because fishermen like to fish at dawn, and so they would come by, pick their nightcrawlers out of their stand, and then put money in a tackle box actually that we had there. And so it was an honor system, so hence we called it Honest John's. And I did that for a number of years, and it provided me with a lot of lessons, a lot of good life lessons, and that really came from my parents. A lot of it was just discipline, right? When a lot of my friends are out playing baseball and things, I had to go get night crawlers, and I had to put them in the containers, and I had to go get peat moss to put the crawlers in to keep them fresh. There was the lessons of Dad always telling me to make sure you put in, if it's a dozen crawlers, make sure you put in more than a dozen. Make sure they get more than what they expect. That was another great life lesson. As my business grew, it was interesting that all of a sudden I couldn't pick night crawlers fast enough. I had to start buying them wholesale. And so now I had certain assets and liabilities, and Mom showed me how to keep track of that with back then, a spreadsheet basically, and she showed me how to run that. From all those beginnings, and let's say humble beginnings, that you take those lessons, and you don't realize how much they're impacting you as you're growing, but you bring them forward in your business. I mean, it's almost like they become part of your DNA. So our business that we have has a lot of those same influences, a lot of those same characteristics that I had back in my nightcrawler business in the late 60s and probably early 70s that we still use today.
Veterans Day is still a week away, but we wanted to give you a heads up on a very special event in which veterans can get free dental work on November 11th.
The reason why creating an impact is so important to us all leads back to the day that my dad sat down with me with my nightcrawler business. He told me, give people more than they expect.
Last year, 57 veterans received more than 64 treatments. That's worth about $17,000.
People will tell other people that when you go there, you're always going to get real healthy nightcrawlers, and there's going to be more than a dozen in there. And I don't ever want to forget those roots, and that's why every year I put the sign out in my yard. I don't ever want to forget that I learned this business from the ground up.